It's not too late to get a good deal on some new windows. Winter is coming. Window Nation is offering 50% off all window styles, so now is the perfect time to replace your old windows with new, custom-built, high-quality ones. Choose from over 1,500 styles and colors that all help protect and beautify your home. So don't miss out, because this is Window Nation's most popular deal. Schedule a fast, free consultation with Window Nation today. Call 866-90-NATION or head to windownation.com. Today on CityCast Chicago, it's after Labor Day, which means at least for some of y'all, I guess it's already fall, but I'm gonna pump the brakes because I still think we got some summer left. So let's get into it with our guide to September. It's Tuesday, September 2nd. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Welcome. If you are new here to CityCast Chicago, we are the #1 daily local news podcast talking about all things Chicago. We are asking the important questions like, why the hell does city seem so broke all the time? From education to transit to city hall, everybody is cash strapped. We asking, what does the city clerk's office do day to day? How are communities organizing to resist ICE? But we also make time to take pizza tours across the city, talk to Chicago dog owners, and put you on new music. And we are in your feeds every single day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Today, I'm joined by executive producer Simone Alicea.
Hey, Jacoby.
And we've also got musician and creator Al Scorch in the building. Al, welcome to CityCast Chicago.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Today, we are talking all things September. So I'm going to start off with a pretty simple question. What thing you are most looking forward to this month? Al, I'm going to start with you.
Well, September is like it's the end of summer. You got to get out there and you got to enjoy the lake while it's still warm, because the lake's it's been heating up all summer and there's still some warm days and some sunshine, but all the kids are back in school and all the beach, the fair weather, so to speak, beach season. No, it's summer. Let's go to the beach. The beaches are quieter now, but the weather's still good and the water's still warm. So my thing in September is you got to get out to the beach and enjoy that. And then my other little thing is the farmers markets, because this is when there's all this good produce coming in, and it's the height of harvest season. And these farmers markets they're going crazy. They got all kinds of stuff. All the tomatoes, getting your pumpkins coming up, all the squash, everything's like all the late summer stuff is going off. So it's a great time.
Finally get like a real red tomato and no more mealy, pale tomatoes.
Yeah, none of these food supply tomatoes. You can get the real things. Yeah, exactly. Just juicy, ripened on the vine.
While most farmers markets close around late October, you do have some that start shutting down in September, including the Thursday night market in South Loop. Hyde Park Sunday farmers market ends at the end of September 28th, I think, is their final day. The Garfield Ridge Farmers Market ends on September 24th. And so make sure you check in that schedule. Again, for most of them, you got until October, November. But if you like that Edgewater Monday market, September 29th is your last day. And I love that you've been talking about getting out to the beach. I feel like that's been somebody's thing they're most excited about, or their biggest tip in the city. And our last few guides.
Every month since May, I'm pretty sure.
Every month since May, it's been like, go get in the water. Yeah. So I love that we're keeping this trend going. Simone, what is something you are looking forward to in September?
I live firmly in the, okay, it's after Labor Day, that means it's fall kind of camp of things.
That's you.
Like culturally, it feels like fall, which is why one of the things I'm most looking forward to is Chicagohenge, which actually, tracks the fall equinox. Chicagohenge, for those who don't know, it's when the sun perfectly aligns with the east-west streets in the Chicago grid, and you can get some amazing photos. It's just kind of really cool to see. So like the sun will set directly along those streets. And of course, rise if you're, an early riser, which I am not. Sort of the 22nd through the 25th, right around that fall equinox, is when you can get your best stuff. And I feel like I can get a good reference photo for a new painting.
I like that. Between Chicagohenge, between the beach, both of y'all are kind of promoting being outside. Mine is a little more focused on music. We got a lot of good music in the city, whether you love the bigger acts like Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga, Renee Rapp. People going to be in the city this month. If you're looking for a festival, you got Riot Fest, but also Inglewood Music Fest, the 79th Street Renaissance Festival is happening this month. But I'm really excited for a rollout of an album that is 10 years in the making from one of my favorite Chicago artists, and that's Femdot. He's rolling out King Dilla 2. It drops September 30th. He's going to have a listening party on the 10th at Ramova. And what's also cool is this month, he's also starting his first semester as a teacher at his alma mater of DePaul University. And he's teaching Chicago culture through hip hop. And in a very Chicago way, I was out a couple of weekends ago. I stopped by Money Gun for the first time in, I don't know, almost a year.
Oh, I love Money Gun. That's a great spot.
I was sitting in a booth, which is sometimes hard to come by there.
Yeah.
And I look over and there's Fem. He sits down. Some of his friends sit down. And the next thing I know, we in Pilsen getting tacos at like 2:30 in the morning, which it was a fantastic story.
And that's the most Chicago thing is when you run into people and then you have a whole night and you're like, well, I haven't seen you in months. Maybe I'll see you in some several months. But here we are because we were both out in the city at the same time. And we both had the time. We were like, let's do this. Now is the time. Seize the day or the night, you know?
Can we also talk about how Chaka Khan's going to be at Renaissance Fest? Like, I feel like that is, I feel like it was announced and then like people forgot about it because the fest isn't until September. But like, that seems like a big deal.
That's amazing. I go see Chaka Khan. That'd be incredible.
Right? I feel like that's
a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big
homecoming,
deal. For
right?
free too. The 79th Street Renaissance Festival is September 6th on 79th and Racine from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The festival is celebrating its 20-year anniversary, and Hyde Park native Auburn Gresham, where she went to school, Chaka Khan is going to be in the building, as last reported by Block Club in July. So, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, absolute legend. Yeah, that's a show. That's a free show that you really can't miss. So September 6th. Let me make sure. I was supposed to go fishing that day. I need to make some changes.
I'm trying to help you out. I am trying to.
I need to make some changes.
The fish will be there. Chaka Khan's one night only.
All right, so we're talking about things you are looking forward to in September. Simone, if you had to give people like a really important tip to think about as they navigate this month, what's that for you?
Yeah, let's do a little traffic corner here. One thing folks should keep in mind is that Mexican Independence Day and El Grito Fest are happening in September 13th through the 14th. I believe the parade on 26th Street is on the 14th. But basically what this means around Mexican Independence Day is expect to see car caravans. This is a huge tradition, a big part of celebrating Mexican Independence Day, and it can snarl things up if you're trying to get around. So I would say that weekend, avoid the car, take transit, be patient. Into
that week, because it's the Mexican Independence Day is the 16th, but it's probably going to get rocking before that Tuesday.
Yeah, so pretty much the whole week. And the other thing, too, is like, I have a friend who lives in Jefferson Park, which means if I'm traveling through Albany Park, I run into the traffic with the flags and et cetera. And it's like, it's really fun, right? There's lots of street vendors. Again, lots of flags flying, just amazing food all around. And it's a great time. But as far as just like traveling around the city, it's a good thing to remember, keep in mind, mark your calendar, take the train that day.
I definitely have had to get out of an Uber and walk on the highway off an exit ramp.
Yeah.
To get out the standstill traffic. I have done that.
I actually feel like being caught in an Uber in the caravan is the worst. Like if you're in your own car, it's like, okay, well, I got my music, I got my little water bottle, whatever. I'll pull off whenever. But when you're stuck in an Uber, it's a bit torturous.
When those windows are up and that car air freshener is thick.
Yes.
You're just watching the price go up on your phone. And dude's on the phone on his Bluetooth.
He's arguing with his girlfriend.
Yeah. You're like, get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Al, you got a tip for people in September for getting through Chicago?
Check that weather report. Because, it could be a fall day. It could be a summer day. That's what you're getting in September. So bring a hoodie. Bring some sunscreen. It could also
switch from one to the other very quickly.
And that's what I'm saying. That's like, make sure you bring that little backpack with, bring some long sleeves, bring some water with you, bring an umbrella, you never know.
What is the item that you have either been most proud that you remembered to carry with you or that you most wish you had when the weather switched quickly?
I'm kind of jumping ahead to winter here, but when it goes from not needing gloves to needing gloves.
The one thing I never have is a coat and some gloves. And gloves is the thing I end up wishing I had way more than the coat, to be honest.
I think for me, it's got to be the umbrella. Like, whenever I have it and I remember it and it rains and I have it, I'm like, I am the smartest person that's ever lived. Like, no one has ever.
You start looking down on all the people who are dry.
You know what I
wet,
mean?
You know?
Yeah.
I got caught in the rain 4 times last month.
And then when I inevitably don't have it, or I thought I had it in my car and it's not in my car, or it's in the wrong bag, or I didn't want to carry it, and then I'm sad and buying a poncho from Walgreens, and then I'm really sad.
Yeah, the umbrellas always get left everywhere too. I feel like there needs to be like some kind of system where it's like.
I've donated them to a lot of restaurants and bars. I've donated my umbrella.
I think every corner should have a little free library, but just for umbrellas, and you can leave it at the next one, wherever you end up going in, you know, outside of the coffee shop or whatever. I think that would be a real service. Jacoby, what's your biggest tip for September?
So this was going to be my thing I'm most excited about, but the more I thought about it, I was like, honestly, I feel like I got to remind people so that they can prepare themselves. And that's that the Bears are back. Right. And so South Loop going to be jumping, not only because Printers Row Lit Fest is happening this weekend, but also I think the Bears kick off their season on next Monday, on Monday Night Football. But then you got to pay attention to when is the games happening so you can know where you should or shouldn't be as it relates to Lakeshore Drive or in the South Loop. Why is your neighborhood
museum campus
bar,
for that matter?
Your museum campus. Why is your neighborhood bar all of a sudden packed with people on the weekend? You know, why are some of your friends extremely mad? All of a sudden their moods are starting to shift and get a lot more fickle, whether because of their parlay not going through, the Bears had a bad outing.
They might be on their phone checking that fantasy team. A little more distracted.
Right. Fantasy leagues start going up at this time. And so the city has a different feeling to it when the Bears are playing. It starts off very hopeful. Are we gonna do it? Can we do it? Can it happen? It starts getting a little frosty and real angry.
But this is September, this is the guide to September, which means we're still in we get La La Land here.
Yeah, we get
the sun still shines on Soldier Field.
We get to pretend that we are in Soldier Field for the long haul, and this year
they're never going to Arlington Heights. Nope.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. It's not. They're not already going to break ground in like the next year or so. It's fine.
And so I know it's a huge headache for a lot of people listening to this. They could care less. They just know it means traffic and frustration. But it's a mixed bag of everything for me. There's some celebration and some heartache in store for me over the next couple of months. But it starts, like you said, in September with all things pointed up. If you're looking for a new career, I want you to pause for a second. What exactly are you looking for? Maybe it's something that's flexible, that works on your time, something where you can use those people skills, your creativity to work with and connect others. You know, something where you can make an impact. If the answer is yes, then maybe you should consider real estate. Realtors not only help people buy and sell homes, but navigate Chicago's rental market. They help people find the next great location to realize the small business dreams, which means you can help people find stability, put down roots, grow something in their neighborhoods. Plus, you get to set your own schedule, choose who you work with, explore different parts of the city. So if real estate is for you, here's how to get started. Visit RealtorsRealEstateSchool.com today to schedule your free career consultation. That's RealtorsRealEstateSchool.com. This episode is brought to you by Mubi, a global streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema. On Mubi, stream beautiful hand-picked cinema anytime, anywhere. Right now, you can stream Vice is Broke, directed by author, producer, host, and chef Eddie Wong. The film follows the wild rise and fall of Vice from a scrappy Montreal alt-punk zine to a $5.7 billion media empire of the indie sleaze era, and ultimately its dramatic bankruptcy. It's a raw, unfiltered look at toxicity, capitalism, and what happens when the hype finally dies down. You can watch Vice is Broke and so much more exclusively on Mubi. And the best part, you can try it free for 30 days. Just head to Mubi.com/CityCast25. That's Mubi, MUBI.com/CityCast25. Simone, Al, both of y'all top story that y'all gonna be paying attention to this month is the same. Simone, kind of start us off, set the stage for us. We've already spent so much time talking about the increased presence of federal agents in Chicago, but that could possibly, who knows, get worse in September.
Yeah, so I think right now the sort of Damocles that is hanging over the city right now is this threat by the Trump administration to send the National Guard to Chicago in a similar fashion that they were deployed in D.C. Now, obviously there are, and as we've talked about, there are lots of key differences between Chicago and D.C. D.C. is a federal district, which gives the president more, authority to to take over their police force, essentially. That authority does not exist here in Chicago. However, the threat is out there and our officials have been responding. Now, we're taping this before Labor Day. And at this moment, there hasn't really been a ton that is super new about that. It's very much in a holding pattern. There was a leaked memo from Naval Base North Chicago, so a suburban naval base that, in addition to potentially housing immigration agents, ICE agents, that location could theoretically be used to house National Guard troops. Again, there's been no order for deployment. It's all still quite speculative, but that's been sort of one thing. Another thing, there is, again, as we're speaking, a rally scheduled for Labor Day for Monday, the Workers Over Billionaires rally at the Haymarket Memorial. That demonstration is set to protest, Trump's threats to deploy the National Guard here in Chicago. Now, if you're hearing this right now, that means that nothing crazy insane happened at that protest, that
we didn't come in on Sunday or Monday and have to re-record.
It means that Trump didn't deploy the national troops in response to that protest, right? But I think everyone is just a little on edge right now, since sort of the latest reporting we got was like they could come as soon as September, and now it's September. So is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Who knows?
Because this is a long lineage of threats, and they will continue throughout the Trump administration for however long he and members of his cabinet are in office. And I know we've kind of talked through the details so much in the podcast, but I do want to say plainly, as so many Chicago organizers, artists, and even lawmakers have said, President Trump at the end of the day is very much a narcissist and a coward and a bully who relies on fear and scare tactics. And we are very much in it for the long haul, and we will continue to cover as these updates unfurl. My hope is that this is just blowing smoke and that he doesn't rely on this, like this mechanism of show of force. But if he does, I know that the city is going to come out in more ways than one in opposition. My only hope is that Chicagoans aren't put in danger. One story I am going to be watching very closely this month is our lawmakers, both in the city council and at the state level, have essentially been on summer break for the last few weeks and months. But at the state level, there is a regional transit fiscal cliff that is facing them, a crisis. And some lawmakers are calling on a special session to deal with a $770 million gap. We've talked about this on the podcast over and over. Back in August, the RTA board voted to transfer $74 million from Metra and Pace to the Chicago Transit Authority to stave off CTA service cuts. But we are growing closer and closer to potential massive service cuts across our regional transit. And I've been following a very similar story from our friends over at CityCast Philly. The Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, their budget gap was $213 million. And as a result, at the end of August, they eliminated 32 bus routes. They reduced 88 other bus routes the day before school. There are already plans to hike their rider fare. And I bring this up because some of these things, service cuts in terms of rail lines being eliminated, bus routes being cut back, fares going up, these are still all in play for CTA, for Metra and Pace. And so as much as we've talked about this as a worst case scenario in the distance, if lawmakers aren't able to come together in either a special session or when they come back in October during the veto session, we're likely to see cuts starting to mount.
I actually do think there will be a solution. Like, of the things that sort of are facing state lawmakers in Springfield, like, I do think it's going to be last minute. I think it's going to, right, it's going to be on the wire, which no one likes to see. It's sort of like the debate right now is sort of like you have some, particularly Chicago lawmakers, where this is going to be obviously felt most acutely, who are saying, like, we should call a special session before the fall veto session. But I think at the very least, I do think this is top of mind fall veto session. You know, there was a proposal that made it out of the state Senate that didn't pass in the House. So, you know, at least somebody's agreeing on something. And so I do think it will come together. I think part of the reason that the RTA had to take some of that money and give it to CTA is, like, again, CTA is going to, the way that their budget is set up and the way that they spend and the way money comes in, they were going to have to enact cuts most immediately that Metra and Pace would not have to enact. And so this is kind of another one of those things that's like an accounting disconnect, right, between when the state finds a solution and says, signs off on the dotted line to say, yes, here's the money you're going to get, here's how it's going to come down, and here's how the governance is going to work, versus, hey, CTA, we need to spend this money to, like, pay our payroll and, like, pay our operators and do this and do this and do this. And that's kind of the sticking point, I think, right now.
So there's like a lot of like moving parts. Is that all held within the RTA? Is Metra, Pace, CTA? Is that all under that state?
Yeah, so that's the Regional Transit Authority, which is what the state lawmakers, that was the initial sticking point, is state lawmakers wanted to change the way that regional agency works. Right now, that agency is essentially, you know, it's a bit of a glorified bookkeeping agency. You know, they kind of funnel the finances from the state into those other agencies. Those other agencies decide how they spend that money. They set their own budgets. You know, they do all that stuff.
And some lawmakers said they wouldn't vote for a funding overhaul unless there were some institutional changes, one of them being, in many ways, reconstituting RTA's role and authority.
Yes, creating a new, I can't remember what the latest acronym for the new agency would be. They've been through several iterations, but essentially a new agency that would oversee them, that would have greater governing power. So you'd have a different board, a different way that board is set up. You know, they would have more power over how the money from the state, because our transit systems are funded primarily via the state.
It would be NITA, Northern Illinois Transit Agency.
Yeah, I have completely lost track of the different things. But yeah, that's what's going on with transit, which is all super fun and interesting, and, you know, really helps when you're just like, but is my train going to be here next week? Like,
and I feel like I'm taking the train and the bus more and more and more, it feels like, by the weekend. So yeah, I'm already feeling the delays in between trains. I can only imagine if they start floating 20-30% service cuts.
See, it's so funny because I actually feel like I've been taking the train more too. And I actually feel like, at least on the Red Line, and the Red Line's a special case because it's the busiest line. I feel like on the Red Line, I have only seen service improve, especially since the construction of these new stations. But I don't know that. I know, like, I have friends who ride the Brown Line primarily, and they're like,
yeah, like I take the orange, brown, and green a little bit too, and those aren't as frequent as the red, for sure. We end all of our monthly guides by looking forward to something we are excited to eat or drink, whether that's at a festival or at a restaurant. Simone, what's something you're looking forward to this month?
Look, I didn't claim to be anything but basic,
I just gonna jump the gun a month early.
It's not a month early. It's pumpkin spice season, friends. It is. It's September. It's fall. I said at the beginning of this episode, in my view, it's fall. Therefore, it is pumpkin spice season.
Foreshadowing.
I'm pretty sure Starbucks starts their pumpkin spice in August these days.
Ain't nobody over at no Starbucks.
No, exactly. And that's not what I'm here for. I am here to say that I am looking forward to if and when the local cafes start putting out their pumpkin spice versions, alternatives, variations. I will also take other fall variations of drinks, sweet potato lattes, any kind of cinnamony, spicy apple, looking for some
brown
apple
sugar,
stuff
maple.
too. Yeah. We're looking for those fall flavors. Last year, we put together a list of some local fall drink specialties. So I'm hoping some of those might come back again. Muse Coffee has a sweet potato latte and a maple cinnamon latte, or they did last year anyway. I was looking at Brew Coffee and Tea in Avondale, which has a pumpkin spice horchata, which I am here for. I love all of those things. Sip and Savor does like caramel apple cider, apple pie latte. I'm not totally sure how I feel about like apple and coffee together, but whatever. We're in season. We're here for it. Illinois is the country's largest producer of pumpkins. Let's embrace it. It's pumpkin spice season, friends.
And let me shout out the Backlot in Irving Park and Evanston, their pumpkin spice latte. They put the pumpkin puree right in it.
That's the thing.
And it thickens it up, and it has this wonderful silky mouthfeel. That is good stuff.
I love that.
And you can tell I'm a fan.
I like how you described it. And I don't even drink coffee, but I was like, I think I'm going to try that.
This kind of rolls into the thing that I was thinking of that I'm excited to eat. It's on that fall tip and kind of in line with my farmer market recommendation, a thing to do as the summer closes out. It's like I'm looking forward to those apple cider donuts. I have fond memories being a little kid. We would drive down from Portage Park. We would go to the Oak Park Farmers Market sometimes on Saturdays, and they would have these fresh apple cider donuts, and there would be people playing like old time music and Irish music. And I was like a little kid. I was like, this is my life. I want to eat donuts and play the fiddle outside and have people be like, this is magical. So now that's what I do as a grown up. So it's very sentimental for me. But, I don't have any specifics of where to get them, but just be on the lookout. Every place is going to.
Is the fiddle on your list of instruments? Because I think you play several things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely is. That's what I started on. I'm a little Suzuki violin baby.
So I imagine then one of your shows is going to feature some apple cider donuts and some fiddling. I just have to assume.
I think probably the October one at Hideout will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
But you got a show coming up at the Hideout this month as well.
That's
Go
right.
ahead and plug it.
That's right. The my big fantastical residency playing every month at the Hideout till the end of the year in 2025. The next one is September 9th. I'm playing with a bunch of my old punk rock buddies, so it'll be kind of a loud rock and roll show. Band Shell Shag from New York City and a local band called Time Thieves are playing. I'll be playing with my band, playing a kind of a hyped up punk set. And then in October, we're doing some straight bluegrass. My friend Matt Morlock's coming up from Knoxville, Tennessee. We're going to be playing a bunch of old time and bluegrass. That's the apple cider donut show.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's what I'm here for.
October 7th.
I love a live bluegrass show.
Come
really
on out to that.
I've been to a couple editions of the residency, and it is an amazing show. Your energy is wonderful. Your friends are always dope as hell. And then the Tamale Man would just sneak in the back for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, he shows up. It's the Hideout, so Claudio is showing up with tamales.
So you mean I could have tamales and apple cider donuts and listen to bluegrass all in one?
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
I'm going to round us out, but I'm going to keep us in summertime as y'all moving into pumpkin spice and apple cider donuts. I want to show some love to Maria's Tuesday Patio Jam. Last month, I actually spent more time in Bridgeport than I probably ever have, especially in a 4-week span. I was over at Duck Inn. I stopped at 3LP, Fat Beach Bakery, Paola's. I was over at Karis Listening Bar. And each time I was there, I kept walking past Maria's without stopping in. But all summer, starting back in May, they have been partnering up with great restaurants from about 8 p.m. to midnight every Tuesday. And it's rolling. This is the last month they're doing it. Tonight, they've got Windy City Burger Social in the building. And then next week, Taco Sublime. So either between today or next week, I do need to go ahead and get that off the list. I feel like I spent a lot of time at the start of summer talking about patios. And I've probably only been on one in the last few weeks or in the last few months. So that is one thing I need to do before it is officially fall, because we're not there just yet. No matter what Simone Alicea has said or has been saying for the last 4+ years. I want to give a huge thank you to our guest today. Of course, executive producer Simone Alicea. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, Jacoby.
And for the first time, but not the last time, Chicago creator Al Scorch. Thank you for making time for us, my friend.
Oh man, thanks for having me, Jacoby. This is great.
Before we get out of here, please bookmark our website, chicago.citycast.fm. There you can subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. Check out our neighborhood and walking guides, our best food and drink list, and so much more. Now, every single episode of CityCast Chicago ends the same way, and that is with some good news. Harper Court Music Series continues this Thursday with a very special edition at Hyde Park. It's their second annual Best Steppers contest, and yes, they gonna have cash prizes, y'all. I will drop a link in our show notes. As always, we appreciate you for listening and reading. We're gonna be back bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace.
Shazam Bengals is going to play in December too. So I was like, Bengals, you got to come do your Adriana Furs and Empire Carpets mashup. Have you heard? Have you heard his Chicago?
I need it though.
Oh, it's amazing. When he would do the drive time mix on Vocalo, he would drop that in there. It's amazing. Amazing. Just cutting up 773-202. Luna. So good.